They say the most dangerous weapon in the world isn't a bomb, a gun, or even artificial intelligence. It's something far smaller, something that lives inside your own mind. And right now, a handful of people are learning how to use it to control others without ever saying a word. It sounds impossible, right? A trick so subtle that even the world's most powerful CEOs, politicians, and influencers have fallen for it without ever realizing it. But today, you're about to learn the terrifying truth about the obedience trigger, a psychological glitch buried deep inside every human brain that can make anyone do what you want, even if they think it's their own idea. What you're about to hear is not theory, it's real. In 2018, a classified behavioral study by a private research firm uncovered a neurological pattern they called subconscious compliance. They discovered that under the right emotional cues, fear, urgency, and validation, 87% of people automatically agree to commands without logical thought. It's hardwired into us from birth. And now, that discovery is being used not just by governments and corporations, but by everyday people who know how to pull the trigger. Here's where it gets dark. This obedience trigger doesn't rely on hypnosis or manipulation in the Hollywood sense. It's pure psychology, a predictable formula. You trigger 3 emotional levers in sequence: uncertainty, fear, and reward. That's it. When you control that emotional sequence, you control behavior. Let's look at an example. In a social experiment, researchers placed a random man in a crowded street and told him to act lost. They then had another person, the controller, walk up confidently and say, "Don't worry, I'll take you there. Follow me." Nearly every time, the lost person followed, even though they had no proof this stranger knew the way. Why? Because confidence replaces clarity in moments of uncertainty. The brain craves leadership when it feels confused. That's the first stage. Uncertainty. The second stage is fear. When a person senses they might lose safety, status, or belonging, their brain becomes hypersuggestible. It stops analyzing and starts obeying. This is why fear-based advertising works, why political messaging often feels emotional, and why cult leaders always start with, "The world is against you." Once fear enters the equation, obedience follows naturally. And the third stage, reward. Once you give a person a small win or make them feel validated, they anchor that relief to you. In psychology, it's called emotional imprinting. You become their safe zone. They trust you, even when logic tells them not to. That's the moment control becomes complete. If you're watching right now, don't just passively listen. You're already experiencing the same mental pattern I'm describing: uncertainty, tension, reward. And that's exactly why this video is designed to keep you watching. It's not an accident, it's psychology. Now imagine if this same formula was applied not just in conversations, but across social media, marketing, even global news. You think you're choosing what to click, what to believe, who to trust. But what if you're not? What if someone, somewhere, is pulling those same emotional strings, and you're just reacting the way your brain was built to? Before we dive deeper, if you want to learn how these hidden triggers shape your daily decisions, from what you buy to who you believe, hit that subscribe button now, because the next few minutes will reveal just how little control you might actually have. In 2020, a leaked report from a major tech company revealed internal algorithms designed to maximize engagement through emotional activation. In simple words, keep people addicted by subtly triggering the same 3-step obedience loop. Fear of missing out, confusion about truth, and the relief of validation when they see content that matches their opinion. That's not entertainment, that's conditioning. And the scary part? It works. Platforms learned that by controlling emotion, they could control attention. And by controlling attention, they could control everything else. From elections to product sales, this hidden formula has reshaped modern society. But here's the twist. This isn't new. The earliest experiments date back to World War II propaganda research. Scientists discovered that repeated exposure to emotionally charged messages could change entire populations' beliefs. They called it persuasive repetition. What used to take decades of education could now happen in weeks through controlled emotion. Fast forward to today, and the same techniques are used on a global scale. Ads, headlines, even influencer videos all trigger uncertainty, fear, and reward. You see it everywhere. But because it feels normal, you don't notice. You just scroll, click, agree, and obey. One former behavioral engineer admitted anonymously, "We don't program computers, we program people." And that's what's happening right now. But here's where the story gets even more disturbing. A secret group of researchers within several high-tech firms have been experimenting with what they call predictive obedience algorithms. These AI systems analyze millions of user reactions and emotional patterns to predict how people will respond before they even do. Imagine software that knows when you're vulnerable, when you're scared, when you are most likely to agree, and then serves you exactly the content that will push that button. That's not the future. That's right now. So how can you protect yourself from being controlled? Experts say the key is meta-awareness, training your brain to notice emotional manipulation before it hijacks logic. When something makes you feel sudden fear or urgency, pause. Ask, who benefits if I react? That question alone breaks the loop, but most people won't. Because emotional control feels good. It feels safe. It feels like being guided by someone who gets you. That's why the obedience trigger is so powerful. It makes manipulation feel like comfort. Right now, you're probably realizing how often this happens in ads, politics, relationships, even entertainment. And here's the uncomfortable truth. The more you think you're immune, the more vulnerable you actually are. Confidence blinds you. Awareness protects you. There's a reason high-level negotiators, intelligence officers, and sales experts study this psychology obsessively. They know that the one who controls emotion controls action, and the one who controls action controls the world. Every major revolution, every global movement, every billion-dollar marketing campaign, all powered by the same three triggers: uncertainty, fear, reward, over and over, until obedience becomes instinct. But what happens when AI learns to weaponize this perfectly? That's the next stage. Emotional singularity. A world where algorithms can manipulate human behavior with precision. They won't just know what you want. They'll decide what you should want. And when that happens, free will becomes an illusion. If you're still watching, that means your mind is resisting the loop. And that's rare. Most people drop off the moment discomfort begins. So congratulations. You're one of the few who can face uncomfortable truths without flinching. And for that, you deserve to know more. So subscribe now, because the next videos will go even deeper into how AI is learning to control human thought itself. Now think about this. Every click you make, every second you stay, every like, share, or comment, it's data. Data that teaches machines how to control you better. Every scroll feeds the system. Every pause tells it what emotion worked. You're not just a user. You're a test subject in the largest behavioral experiment in history. And yet, you can still take back control. Awareness is the antidote. Start noticing the hooks that make you stop scrolling, the lines that trigger your curiosity, the emotions that make you act without thinking. Those are the pressure points, the levers of obedience. Once you see them, they lose their power. Because in the end, control isn't taken, it's given. We surrender it every time we let emotion replace logic, every time we follow without questioning, every time we trust without thinking. The obedience trigger is real. It's being used right now. But now that you know, you can resist it. And if you've made it this far, you've already proven something. That you're not just another viewer. You're awake. You think deeper. So drop a comment below and tell me, Do you believe free will still exists in the digital age, or are we all just living inside someone else's algorithm? The truth may scare you, but awareness is the first step toward freedom.